Oscar De La Hoya's jealousy of Canelo Alvarez at this particular point is embarrassing. And he's legitimately making a fool of himself. Let's talk. Oscar De La Hoya recently came out and said Canelo's entire career was a huge flub. The only real fighters he's faced are Floyd Mayweather, Bivol, and Crawford, and they all toyed with him. This is what he said, y'all. And I really take issue with this because he followed up saying this: I feel bad for Turkey, wasting all that money. You have to fire your matchmakers. It was the biggest fight of the decade, and your matchmakers put on that undercard. That's the best they could do. I would have put Hamza Shiraz versus David Benavidez as a co-main event with the winner fighting the winner of Canelo Crawford. That's how you promote. That's how you match make. Yeah, so let's look at this one again. Canelo's entire career was a huge flub. Well, you ran his career from 2010 to 2020, from when he fought Jose Miguel Cotto till Kovalev. For 10 years, you ran his career. Basically his entire 154-pound reign, his entire 160-pound reign, and a fight of his 68-pound reign for 10 years. So when you say his entire career is a flub, you're the one that flubbed it. Yeah, because during that 154-pound reign of when you controlled his career, he could have fought Charlo, both of them, and Demetrius Andrade at 154. You controlled his career, and you refused to do that. You did that. His entire 160-pound career, it was us, the fans, that were saying, why isn't he fighting his mandatory in Jermall Charlo? Why won't he fight his mandatory in Jermall Charlo? It was us, the fans, that dragged him for dropping his 168-pound title against Golovkin and then moving back down to 154 to fight Liam Chunky Beefy Smith. See, that was under your watch. When you're saying his entire career was a flub, you flubbed it. That was you. You did that. He wasn't making his own fights. He wasn't matchmaking himself. You did that. And now you're saying his entire career is a flub because he left you. At 160, he had 3 belts. He was only missing one. And the one he was missing was Demetrius Andrade's belt. He was with you. He was your fighter. You didn't make the Andrade fight. That was on you. So who flubbed his career? So let's look at this statement again. You have to fire your matchmakers. The only reason why Canelo Alvarez fought Floyd Mayweather and Erislandy Lara is because he kept smashing the gas for it. He refused to not fight them. He smashed the gas for Floyd Mayweather. Oscar De La Hoya was not trying to make that fight, y'all. Oscar De La Hoya was telling the world that Canelo is too young, he's too green, he's not ready. Oscar wasn't trying to make that fight. Until the fight was made and Oscar was getting paid, and then he was like, my fighter's going to kick your ass. Floyd's just talking a lot of trash because my fighter is going to kick your ass. Yeah, when Edison Laura got on that stage and was shaming Canelo, Oscar got on the stage and said, you don't deserve to get no fight. You're not fighting him. Who are you? You haven't done anything. You don't deserve to fight Canelo Alvarez. It was Canelo that said, no, make the fight. Make the fight. He's doing all this talking. He's shaming me and trying to embarrass me. Make the fight. It was Canelo that did that. Oscar didn't do that. Canelo did that. Canelo said, no, make the fight. It was Canelo that forced that. Not Oscar. Oscar didn't want Canelo to fight neither one of the Charlos at all. Neither did Bernard Hopkins. They both got on there talking about these guys got to do something to deserve Canelo Alvarez. They got to do something. You can't just, Canelo's at the top. You can't just come in, even being a mandatory. That don't mean nothing. That was what Sambo Hopkins was saying. Just because you're a mandatory, that don't mean nothing. You got to fight and do something to deserve somebody. You can't just become a mandatory. See, like me in my career, when I fought to the top, you know, I had to do something to go earn a shot. I couldn't just, you know, go up there and fight for the titles. That's not how boxing works. And if anybody knows anything about boxing, then you know you can't do that. You got to do something to deserve a shot at the top. Yeah, that's what Sambo Hopkins did. And what Oscar did is these guys, they're nobodies. The Charlos are nobodies. Who are they? They're nothing. The Charlos haven't done anything. They haven't done nothing. Who are they? They're nobodies. Why would I have my fighter fight these guys when I can have my fighter fight other guys, the best fighters in the world? And then he goes on and fights against Amir Khan. I'll put my fighter, well, who was the Charlos? I'll give my fighter the best fighters in the world. Like, he fights the top guys in the world. The Charlos don't fight nobody, and then he fights Amir Khan. Jamal Charlo was the mandatory at 160 for like 2-3 years. He was a mandatory, the WBC mandatory. What did Oscar do? Did he make that fight? Not at all. Listen, we don't need them. We're moving on. We don't need them. We got the best fighter in the world, and he's fighting the fights that the fans want to see. That's what we're doing. So we're going to make Amir Khan and Canelo Alvarez. That's an exciting fight. It's an exciting fight. That's the fight the fans want to see. That's what we do. We give the fans the fight that they want to see. We were begging for Canelo and Jamal Charlo. We were begging. But y'all didn't make that. Now you're talking about matchmaking and his career being a flub. During his prime 10 years of his career, he was with you, Oscar De La Hoya. He was with you. He had the opportunity to be the undisputed champion at 154 and the undisputed champion at 160 under your matchmaking. Under your matchmaking. You talk about you would have, what I would have did is I would have had Shiraz and Benavidez on the co-main and yeah, well, why didn't you do that with Speedy Rashidi Ellis? Because you had Speedy Rashidi Ellis and you had Virgil Ortiz in Golden Boy. So why didn't you do that with them? Why didn't you put Speedy Rashidi versus somebody as a co-main and Virgil Ortiz versus somebody as the main and then have those guys fight each other in the main in another fight? if that's how you do matchmaking. Because you damn sure did not do that with Speedy Rashidi Ellis at all. You had Deontay Wilder. Don't remember you putting Deontay Wilder as a co-main against somebody and have one of your heavyweights as the main, and then putting your heavyweights against Deontay and a main in the next one. Don't remember that at all. Don't remember any of that. You're extremely jealous of Canelo Alvarez because Canelo Alvarez made deals that you never could have because it wasn't your era. Canelo Alvarez made deals for $365 million. Canelo Alvarez was getting paychecks for $100 million. He just made $150 million. And you were doing $1 million pay-per-views, but you wasn't making nowhere near as much money as Canelo Alvarez was making. And there is blatant jealousy here. Blatant jealousy. Am I saying Canelo was a better fighter than you? No, I am not. Oscar was a way better fighter than Canelo Alvarez, and his resume is way more stacked. But he's clearly jealous. He's clearly jealous. He's clearly taking shots, talking about how this man's career was flood, his whole career, but you ran it. You ran his whole career. You did. You could have had a two-time undisputed champion, a 154-pound undisputed champion, and a 160-pound undisputed champion. You could have had that as Canelo Alvarez. You could have had that. You maneuvered it. You flubbed it. You match made the way you did. You did that. And then you blamed him. Diabolical. Oh, he's only fought Floyd, Bivol, and Bud. Well, two of those guys he fought without you. In the second half of his career, in the last 20 fights. He's got 70 fights. Majority of all of his damn fights were under you. So why didn't you get him Bivol years ago? Why didn't you get him a Bud-like fighter years ago? Why didn't you do that? You got him Floyd Mayweather that he pressed for, and then that's it. That's it. He had to press for Adesanya Lara. You got him nothing other than that. You match made strategically. You did. And now you're jealous of this man. And it's a damn shame because you were a phenomenal fighter. You're a weird human being, but you were a phenomenal fighter when you were fighting. You were phenomenal. I take nothing away from Oscar's career. He went in the ring and earned all of that. But he's clearly jealous of Canelo Alvarez. And this is not me praising or glazing for Canelo. I don't like Canelo like that. I'm not a fraud, bro. I'm not a fraud. I'm not a liar. I'm not a cap artist. Yeah, I'm not doing any of that. Canelo is a phenomenal fighter. Is he better than Oscar? No, he is not. But why is Oscar taking shots at Canelo Alvarez? For what reason? He ran this man's career. He could have made all the fights he wanted to make for Canelo Alvarez. He chose the path that Canelo was on. He didn't even want Canelo to fight Golovkin. Canelo was the one that pushed for that. He didn't want that fight at all. The rematch was due to the first fight. The issues in the first fight. That's why there was a rematch. You didn't see this man talking about the clenbuterol Canelo had in the system. He protected and defended. But yet he's talking about how someone was a flub. Something was a flub. He was under your tutelage. Oscar got no blame for Canelo being a drug cheat at all. No one said anything about it. Just move the goalposts. Then they want to talk about how he was running from Benavidez. Well, why didn't you make the Benavidez fight? Benavidez was fighting at 168 when you fought Chavez instead of Benavidez. Benavidez was there. You fought Chavez at 164. Why didn't you just fight Benavidez instead of Chavez? You could have. He was under your tutelage, under your guidance. He was under your promotional company. So if his career was flubbed, you flubbed it. But of course, you guys are not going to talk about that. But it's all good. I will. But y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. BFTB, man. Shout out to the mighty LDBC. And I'm out. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, share. Subscribe to my Patreon. And if you feel like supporting me, please support me in the PayPal or the Cash App.